Speaker, the preparation of this budget was undertaken in circumstances like never before. We knew of calamities that have affected a country or a region within a country. But what we have endured with COVID-19 through 2020 is sui generis. When I presented the budget 2020-2021, we could not have imagined that the global economy, already in throes of a slowdown, would be pushed into an unprecedented contraction. We could not have also imagined then that our people, as those in other countries, would have to endure the loss of near and dear ones and suffer hardships brought about due to a health crisis. The risk of not having a lockdown was far too high. Within 48 hours of declaring a 3-week-long complete lockdown, the Prime Minister announced the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan of citizens stayed home. Milk, vegetables, fruit suppliers, health and sanitary workers, truck drivers, railways and public transport workers, bank employees, electricity workers, our annadatas, police, firemen and the armed forces all had to go about their work as normal, but with the additional anxiety of the virus hanging over them. We recognize this, and I think I speak on behalf of everybody in this august house when I express my heartfelt gratitude to these men and women for how they were able to carry out their work and duty to provide for the nation's basics over those crucial months. Speaker, sir, for public good, honorable members of parliament and members of legislative assemblies too offered their salaries. In May 2020, the government announced the Atmanirbhar Bharat package. To sustain the recovery further into the year, we also rolled out 2 more Atmanirbhar packages, 2 and 3. Total financial impact of all the Atmanirbhar Bharat packages, including measures taken by the RBI, was estimated to be about 27.1 lakh crores, which amounts to more than 13% of our GDP. As a government, we kept a watch on the situation and were proactive in our responses. The government, led by the Prime Minister, stretched its resources to deliver for most vulnerable sections of our society, the poorest of the poor, the Dalits, the tribals, the elderly, the migrant workers, and our children. The Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, the 3 Atmanirbhar packages, and announcements made later were like 5 mini budgets in themselves. The Atmanirbhar packages accelerated our pace of structural reforms, redefinition of MSMEs, commercialization of the mining sector, agriculture and labor reforms, privatization of public sector undertakings, One Nation, One Ration Card, production-linked incentive schemes are some of the notable reforms carried out during this period. Faceless income tax assessment, DBT, and financial inclusion are the others. Today, India has 2 vaccines available and has begun medically safeguarding not only her own citizens against COVID-19, but also those of 100 or more countries. It is added comfort to know that 2 or more vaccines are also expected soon. Honorable Prime Minister launched the vaccination drive by crediting and thanking our scientists. We are ever grateful for the strength and rigor of their efforts. Having said that, we are all reminded time and again that our fight against COVID-19 continues into 2021. Now, just as it happened after the 2 world wars, there are signs that the political, economic, and strategic relations in the post-COVID world are changing. This moment in history is the dawn of a new era, one in which India is well poised to truly be the land of promise and hope. I borrow the words of Rabindranath Tagore. Faith is the bird that feels the light and sings when the dawn is still dark. Faith is the bird that feels the light and sings when the dawn is still dark. In this spirit, I can't help but recall the joy that we as cricket-loving nation felt after the Team India's recent spectacular success in Australia. It has reminded us of all the qualities that we as a people, particularly our youth, epitomize of having abundant promise and the unsuppressed thirst to perform and to succeed. Today, data shows that India now has one of the lowest death rate of 112 per million population and one of the lowest active cases of about 130 per million. This has laid the foundation to the revival we are seeing now in the economy. This budget will be the first of this new decade. This budget will also be a digital budget, and that has happened with all your support. So far, only 3 times has a budget followed a contraction in the economy. All such contractions earlier were as a result of situations typical to India. This time, the economy is due to a global pandemic, just like in several other countries. Having said that, I want to confidently state that our government is fully prepared to support and facilitate the economy's reset. This budget provides every opportunity for our economy to raise and capture the pace that it needs for a sustainable growth. 2021 is the year of many important milestones for our history. I mention a few of these. It is the 75th year of independence, 60 years of Goa's accession to India, 50 years of the 1971 India-Pakistan War. It will be the year of the 8th census of independent India. It will also be India's turn at the BRICS presidency, the year for our Chandrayaan-3 mission, and the Haridwar Mahakumbh. Honorable Speaker, before I commence Part A of the budget, I want to take a moment to acknowledge how isolating and distancing seemed like insurmountable challenges for a country like ours that has people coming together in times of crisis. It hurts us in many ways. It hurt us in many ways. I bow my head in respect to every citizen for the endurance shown in facing what was an undeniably a tough year for all our physical and mental well-being. Part A. In Part A, I wish to lay a vision for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat or Atmanirbharta is not a new idea. Ancient India was largely self-reliant and equally a business epicenter of the world. Atmanirbhar Bharat is an expression of the 130 crore Indians who have full confidence in their capabilities and skills. We are already part of international groupings such as the G20 and the BRICS, the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, and the International Solar Alliance are realities today due to India's efforts. The proposals in Part A will further strengthen the sankalp of nation first, doubling farmers' income, strong infrastructure, healthy India, good governance, opportunities for youth, education for all, women empowerment, and inclusive development, among others. Additionally, also on the path to fast implementation are the 13 promises we had made in the budget of 2015-16. which were to materialize during the Amrit Mahotsav of 2022 on the 75th year of our independence. They too resonate with the vision of Atmanirbharta. The budget proposals for 21-22 rest on 6 pillars: health and well-being, physical and financial capital and infrastructure, inclusive development for aspirational India, reinvigorating human capital, innovation and R&D, and as 6th, minimum government and maximum governance. I now move to talking about the first pillar, health and well-being. Even at the outset, I would like to say that the investment on health infrastructure in this budget has increased substantially. Progressively, as institutions absorb more, we shall commit more. Taking a holistic approach to health, we focus on strengthening 3 areas: preventive, curative, and well-being. Health systems. A new centrally sponsored scheme, PM Atmanirbhar Swasth Bharat Yojana, will be launched with an outlay of about 64,180 crores over 6 years. This will develop capacities of primary, secondary, and tertiary care health systems, strengthen existing national institutions, and create new institutions to cater to detection and cure of new and emerging diseases. This will be in addition to the National Health Mission. The main interventions under the scheme are support for over 17,000 rural and 11,000 urban health and wellness centers, setting up integrated public health labs in all districts, and 3,382 block public health units in 11 states, establishing critical care hospital blocks in 602 districts and 12 central institutions, strengthening of National Center for Disease Control, its 5 regional branches and 20 metropolitan health surveillance units, expansion of the integrated health information portal to all states and UTs to connect all public health labs, operationalization of 17 new public health units, and strengthening of 33 existing public health units at points of entry, that is, at 32 airports, 11 seaports, and 7 land crossings, setting up of 15 health emergency operation centers and 2 mobile hospitals, and setting up of a National Institution for One Health, a regional research platform for WHO, World Health Organization, Southeast Asia Region Office, 9 biosafety level 3 laboratories, and 4 regional national institutes for virology. Nutrition. To strengthen nutritional content, delivery, outreach, and outcome, we will merge the supplementary nutrition program and the Poshan Abhiyan and launch the Mission Poshan 2.0. We shall adopt an intensified strategy to improve nutritional outcomes across 112 aspirational districts. Universal coverage of water supply. The World Health Organization has repeatedly stressed the importance of clean water, sanitation, and clean environment as a prerequisite to achieving universal health. The Jal Jeevan Mission Urban will be launched. It aims at universal water supply in all 4,378 urban local bodies with 2.86 crores household tap connections, as well as liquid waste management in 500 Amrit cities. It will be implemented over 5 years with an outlay of 2,87,000 crores. Swachh Bharat and Swasth Bharat. For further Swachhata of urban India, we intend to focus on complete fecal sludge management and wastewater treatment, source segregation of garbage, reduction in single-use plastic, reduction in air pollution by effectively managing waste from construction and demolition activities, and bioremediation of all legacy dump sites. The Urban Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0 will be implemented with a total financial allocation of 1,41,678 crores over a period of 5 years from 2021. Clean air. To tackle the burgeoning problem of air pollution, I propose to provide an amount of 2,217 crores of rupees for 42 urban centers with a million-plus population in this budget. Scrapping policy. We are separately announcing, Honorable Speaker, a voluntary vehicle scrapping policy to phase out old and unfit vehicles. This will help in encouraging fuel-efficient, environment-friendly vehicles, thereby reducing vehicular pollution and oil import bills. Vehicles would undergo fitness tests in automated fitness centers after 20 years in case of personal vehicles and after 15 years in case of commercial vehicles. Details of the scheme will be separately shared by the ministry. Vaccines. The pneumococcal vaccine, a made-in-India product, is presently limited to only 5 states. It will be rolled out across the country. This will avert more than 50,000 child deaths annually. Honorable Speaker, I have provided 35,000 crores of rupees for COVID-19 vaccine in this year 21-22. I am committed to provide further funds if required. So the budget outlay for health and well-being is 2,23,846 crores in this BE 21-22, as against the BE of only 94,452 crores, and it marks an increase of 137%. The details of the same are at Annexure 1 of the speech. Honorable Speaker, I now move to the second pillar, physical and financial capital and infrastructure. Atmanirbhar Bharat, production-linked incentive schemes are things which I would like to place an emphasis. For a $5 trillion economy, our manufacturing sector has to grow in double digits on a sustained basis. Our manufacturing companies need to become an integral part of global supply chains, possess core competence and cutting-edge technology. To achieve all of the above, PLI schemes to create manufacturing global champions for an Atmanirbhar Bharat have been announced for 13 sectors. For this, the government has committed nearly 1.97 lakh crores over 5 years starting this financial year. This initiative will help bring scale and size in key sectors, create and nurture global champions, and provide jobs to our youth. Textiles. To enable the textile industry to become globally competitive, attract large investments, and boost employment generation, a scheme of Mega Investment Textiles Park will be launched in addition to the PLI schemes. This will create world-class infrastructure with plug-and-play facilities to create global champions in exports. 7 textile parks will be established over 3 years. Infrastructure. The National Infrastructure Pipeline which I announced in December 2019, is the first of its kind. Whole of government exercise ever undertaken by Government of India. The NIP was launched with 6,835 projects. The project pipeline has now expanded to 7,400 projects. Around 217 projects worth rupees 1.10 lakh crores under some key infrastructure ministries have been completed. The NIP is a specific target which this government is committed to achieving over the coming years. It will require a major increase in funding from both the government and the financial sector. In this budget, I propose to take concrete steps to do this in 3 ways. Firstly, by creating the institutional structures. Secondly, by a big thrust on monetizing assets. And thirdly, by enhancing the share of capital expenditure in central and state budgets. Infrastructure needs long-term debt financing. A professionally managed development financial institution is necessary to act as a provider, enabler, and catalyst for infrastructure financing. Accordingly, I shall introduce a bill to set up a development financial institution. I have provided a sum of 20,000 crore rupees to capitalize this institution. The ambition is to have a lending portfolio of at least 5 lakh crores for this DFI within 3 years' time. Debt financing of InvITs and REITs by foreign portfolio investors will be enabled by making suitable amendments in the relevant legislations. This will further ease access of finance to InvITs and REITs, thus augmenting funds for infrastructure and real estate sectors. Asset monetization. Monetizing operating public infrastructure. Monetizing operating public infrastructure assets is a very important financing option for new infrastructure construction. A national monetization pipeline of potential brownfield infrastructure assets will be launched. An asset monetization dashboard will also be created for tracking the progress and to provide visibility to investors. Some important measures in the direction of monetization are National Highways Authority of India and the PGCIL each have sponsored one InvIT that will attract international and institutional investors. 5 operational roads with an estimated enterprise value of 5,000 crores of rupees are being transferred to the NHAI InvIT. Similarly, transmission assets of value 7,000 crores will be transferred to the PGCIL InvIT. Railways will monetize dedicated freight corridor assets for operations and maintenance after commissioning. A next lot of airports will be monetized for operations and management concessions. Other core infrastructure assets that will be rolled out under the asset monetization programs are NHAI operational toll roads, 2 transmission assets of PGCL, 3 oil and gas pipelines of GAIL, Gas Authority of India Limited, IOCL and HPCL, Airports Authority of India airports in Tier 2 and 3 cities, other railway infrastructure assets, warehousing assets of CPSE, such as the Central Warehousing Corporation and NAFED, among others, and sports stadiums. Sharp increase in capital budget. In the BE 2020-21, we had provided for 4.12 lakh crores for capital expenditure. It was our effort that in spite of resource crunch, we should spend more on capital, and we are likely to end this year at around 4.39 lakh crores, which I have provided in the RE of 2020-2021. For 21-22, I propose a sharp increase in capital expenditure and thus have provided 5.54 lakh crores, which is 34.5% more than the BE of 2020-2021. Of this, I have kept a sum of more than 44,000 crores in the budget head of the Department of Economic Affairs to be provided for projects, programs, or departments that show good progress in capital expenditure and are in need of further funds. Over and above this expenditure, we would also be providing more than 2 lakh crores to states and autonomous bodies for their capital expenditure. We will also work out specific mechanisms to nudge states to spend more of their budget on creation of infrastructure. Roads and highways infrastructure. More than 13,000 kilometer length of roads at a cost of 3.3 lakh crores has already been awarded under the 5.35 lakh crores Bharatmala Pariyojana project, of which 3,800 kilometers have been constructed. By March 2022, we would be awarding another 8,500 kilometers and complete an additional 11,000 kilometers of national highway corridors. To further augment road infrastructure, more economic corridors are also being planned. Some are 3,500 kilometers of national highway works in the state of Tamil Nadu at an investment of 1.03 lakh crores. These include Madurai-Kollam corridor, Chittoor-Tachur corridor, and construction will start next year. Second, 1,100 kilometers of national highway works in the state of Kerala at an investment of 65,000 crores, including 600 kilometer section of Mumbai-Kanyakumari corridor in Kerala. Third, 675 kilometers of highway works in the state of West Bengal at a cost of 25,000 crores, including upgradation of existing road Kolkata-Siliguri. National highway works of around 19,000 crores are currently in progress in the state of Assam. Further works of more than 34,000 crores covering more than 1,300 kilometers of national highways will be undertaken in the state in the coming 3 years. Some of the flagship corridors and other important projects that would see considerable activity in 2021-22 are in Annexure 2 to my speech. I am also providing an enhanced outlay of 1,18,101 crores for Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, of which 1,08,230 crores is for capital, the highest ever provided. Railway infrastructure. Honorable Speaker, sir, Indian Railways have prepared a National Rail Plan for India 2030. The plan is to create a future-ready railway system by 2030, bringing down the logistic costs for an industry is at the core of our strategy to enable Make in India. It is expected that Western Dedicated Freight Corridor and Eastern Dedicated Freight Corridor will be commissioned by June 2022. The following additional initiatives are also proposed. The Sonnagar-Gomo sections, 263 kilometers of Eastern Dedicated Freight Corridor, will be taken up in PPP mode in this year itself. Gomo-Dankuni section of 274.3 kilometers will be also taken up shortly in short succession